All right, so it is February 12th, 2024. The reason why that matters is because this time last year, I was dead broke. I was broke. I was living in my mother's basement. I was working for Apple support, so a call center, an IT call center, okay? And I had nothing to show for it. I was 26. I felt like a failure. Nothing in my life showed or demonstrated that I had any sort of success. My other friends were moving up in their corporate positions, director level, managerial level, and, buying their first home or first business, whatever it is. Me, I had a bunch of failed business ideas. That's all I had, right? 12 months later, so now, I'm making $30,000 a month with a successful, it's crazy to say, with a successful hypnosis business. I'm building up a platform. I got like 100,000 followers and across all my platforms, TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. I also built a 5-figure a month AI business in parallel, before the hypnosis business, so last year. So I built those two businesses within 12 months. How did I go from what looked like a failure from the outside in to this so quickly? How does one build momentum in their life that quickly? So the only reason why I feel qualified, and for those of you who don't know my story, I'm not like a formally, like there's no, I'm not standing on any sort of formal hypnotherapy certification, nor do you need one. And I'll answer this in another video if I haven't already. But I have been in the wellness space for a long time through meditation and things like that, just on the side. And I formally turned it into a business. But I say all that to say the reason why I'm qualified and feel qualified to practice hypnosis and why I've been successful in providing that transformation to other people is because I was able to do it for myself in a way that worked. And so that is why I'm able to have a 100% success rate with all of my clients. So how did I do that? How did I hypnotize myself? I genuinely think that I understand the hypnosis process for success better than anybody else. Number one, because I'm a product of it. But number two, because I just understand how to take someone from 0 to 100, with 100 being the best version of themselves, the best, most successful, most confident, most high-performing, in-flow version of themselves. So let's talk about what that looks like. Let's get into it. So I said this in a previous video, but any sort of massive change, we're talking like quantum levels of change, exponential change that happens in a person's life, it starts by change on the identity level. So the things that we identify with. What do we identify with? It's very simple. It's people, places, and things, right? People, places, and things. We identify and we act in a certain way around people, and with specific people. We identify with certain places we call home. We change our attitude based on the place we go. We change our energy based on the places we show up, the places we do and do not feel qualified to go to, and the things, right? We surround ourselves with things. We buy things that reaffirm our identity, right? We drive nice cars because it reaffirms a certain identity of us, or we drive nice cars because it reaffirms a part of identity that we want to please others, or we want to show off, or we get validation from other people's comments, right? People, places, and things. Those are the categories of how our identity is structured. So if you want to make quantum change, and this is what I did, you start on and I didn't really know it at the time. I built a process and a system around it, which became deep mind programming. But if you want to make real change, you got to start with the people, places, and things that you associate with at the deepest level, right? So I talked about the fastest way to make change is to separate yourself from your environment. So that is what I did. Anytime I ever wanted to make large amounts of change very quickly, I isolated myself, right? And not like in a unhealthy way, but I just stopped going out. I stopped talking to people. I stopped, exchanging messages. And I usually let people know up front that I'm going to lock in for the next little bit, right? So I stopped going to parties. I stopped talking to people. I stopped answering the texts and the group chats and stuff like that. And I just focused, right? Because what that does is it gives you an energetic separation to remind yourself and to refamiliarize yourself with what your energy feels like and who you really are, right? And then you'll realize that you only really acted in certain ways because you were around certain people. You only talked in certain ways because you were around certain people, and you need to become you again. And a lot of the times, the reason why we're all naturally poised to be successful in our own right, with whatever that looks like to you. So you in your most natural state is the successful state, right? And the reason why we're not there is because we actually have baggage on top of it. So we don't need to become anything special. We already are special. We just have to remove what's on top, and you start with the people, places, and things. All those three categories are what's weighing you down, right? Or holding you back. So people, right? So it became very clear to me that if my life was as depressing as I'm saying it was, let's start by looking at the people who I was exchanging the most energy with. And this could be a whole video and series of videos on its own, but I stopped in full associating with people, not because I was better than them or worse than or beneath them. Not that there was anything wrong with them. It's just I needed to do an audit on my life. And so to do an audit, I needed to remove myself from all the things that were creating that current reality. So started with people, right? People, places, stopped going to certain places, and things. I stopped consuming content. I stopped buying, frivolous things. All these things, I just stopped, okay? Because you need a buffer, right? You need a buffer. So that's the first thing. The identity level. Remove yourself from what you continue to identify with, because clearly it's not working for you, and it wasn't working for me. That's the first thing. All right, so write that down. Make changes on the identity level. Okay, if I could stop the video right here and your life would change in 30 days. If you just applied that, I guarantee you can come back to this video in 30 days and write the comment, and I promise you the comment will be my life made a 180. Just by separating yourself from people, places, and things, right? And when I say things, I mean habits, content, purchases, right? All those things, right? That's the first thing. The second thing now, hypnosis becomes more potent when we, and this is what the hypnotist does in a session, in a positive way. Hypnosis becomes really potent when we try to double down on an emotion that we want the client to feel, right? Through different forms of suggestions. And I won't get into like the complicated jargon, but there's ways to make a client feel certain emotion. The exact same way when you think about a traumatic event that happened to you in your past, let's say a negative event, and literally you start to tense up. There are physical results, physical manifestations of you just thinking about that, right? Because the brain does not distinguish between the past and the future. It thinks of itself in the present moment. So when you think of a traumatic event, you literally start to tense up. Your thoughts change like immediately. They start to go in a downward spiral. We've all had this happen. Stress chemicals literally flood your body. Your heart rate goes up. Your breathing gets more shallow. It's insane. The power of the mind, right? So the hypnotist is using your power of the mind to help you feel a certain way, because what happens is your brain is calibrating with that and saying, oh, I really like this feeling. This is what it feels like to be successful. And it's so potent because you're relaxed at that point. You're highly suggestible, that out of this state of hypnosis, when you go about your day in the next few days, few weeks, few months, you will subconsciously look to reaffirm that feeling. Just like when you continue to think about a traumatic event, you look to reaffirm that feeling. You look to surround yourself with people who encourage your victim mentality, so on and so forth. You continue to put yourself in relationships that do not serve you. All of these things, you guys get that. So how does one then, and this is what I was doing back then, how does one evoke an emotion that is conducive to success? How does one bring out an emotion out of themselves that makes them reaffirm the best version of themselves? Very simply, skip the affirmations, because the affirmations won't work unless you have some serious emotion behind it. And most people cannot focus on a visualization that for long enough and with enough clarity and conviction that it brings out a chemical and an emotional response, right? Skip all the affirmations, skip all that stuff, right? Exercise. Exercise. Go do some push-ups, or go do some squats, or go for a run. It's so overlooked. And nobody understands why exercise is so important besides the health piece. Let me tell you why. So I just said, a hypnotist is really great at making you feel a certain emotion to the point where it's a chemical release. Exercise makes you feel powerful because you are pushing your limits, and your brain is like, oh shoot, I did not know I could do that, but I really can. How much more can I do, right? From a simple squat or a simple push-up or a simple jog, right? It's an emotion, and literally immediately it floods your brain and your body. Your brain floods your body, with a high. And I forget, it's not dopamine, but it might be serotonin. Someone fact check me on that. I'll fact check this myself. But point is, there are literally, the lighting's bad. So there are literally chemicals that flood your bloodstream and flood every cell of your body, right? And it is one of the most powerful sensations that you can feel at will, right? You can literally just go do 5 push-ups and see how you feel. I guarantee you will feel stronger, you will feel more capable, you will start to feel like anything is possible, and you will start to look for other ways to reaffirm that thought and reaffirm that feeling. And this is why exercise is so powerful. It's because it evokes that emotion and that chemical response. Besides the health piece, it's literally making you healthier, but it's also making you stronger and elevating your consciousness, because it reminds you that anything is possible, right? And you look to, it's such a strong chemical response that for the rest of the day, you will look to reaffirm that feeling, that subtle but very real identity change, that, oh my goodness, I'm a person of focus. I'm a person of determination. I'm a person who pushes themselves, and that will translate into your work. That will translate into the quality of your thoughts. You will then look to come up with bigger and better business ideas. You will realize that you were thinking too small. And then you'll also realize that, oh my goodness, how did I ever live a life without exercise? Or without doing push-ups? I used to be a slob. I used to be very lazy. You'll start to see the contrast happen right away. Right? And then you'll only want to surround yourself with people, right, who exercise, who work out, right? And you can tell who does and who does not, right? By the quality of their thoughts, by how they show up in the world besides their body. That's another thing, right? And so what happens is, because I already separated myself from the things I used to identify with, I'm now like a clean slate, open for change. I'm embracing change. I'm open now. Right? It's like a clean slate. And now I was starting to identify with the feeling of being powerful, the feeling of being focused, the feeling of being worthy. I'm worthy of having a great body. I really am, because I love the way it feels and it looks great on me, right? I'm worthy of thinking these thoughts that I'm capable of. That I'm capable, that I can do anything, that I push myself, right? When nobody's watching. Those are the thoughts that changed everything for me. So exercise, right? Now, on top of that, here's the real hypnosis piece, right? So as a hypnotist is getting you into a state of this surreal, but still very real emotion and visualization, right? So, and then they're making direct suggestions, right? They're telling you who you are and reminding you who you are, right? So in exercise, as I'm jogging, as I'm doing push-ups, as I'm doing squats, whatever it is, in the comfort of my workout room or whatever it is, I'm making the affirmations while I'm doing the squats. I'm powerful, I'm worthy, I'm strong, I'm the chosen one. I retired my dad, right? I made $20,000 this month. I remember for the longest time I was just doing push-ups and saying I made $20,000 this month. I made $20,000 this month. Back when I was making $2,000. I'm making $20,000 this month. I'm making $20,000 this month. And when you're in the emotional state, you are beyond space and time. You collapse time. That is what a quantum leap is. You do not care anymore, nor do you acknowledge how much time you think it would take. That is not even a thought anymore. It's just a feeling that's becoming so deeply ingrained that now the subconscious mind begins to work. And the subconscious mind is not something that you are aware of, but it's working in the subtlest of ways. In terms of how long your brain entertains a thought, in terms of how long, it's everything. The rhythm in which I'm talking, the tone of my voice, right? The pace at which I'm breathing, like my posture, all these things that I'm not aware of or focused on are dictated by my subconscious mind, as it is for you. And so day after day after day after day after day of that really, really potent combination of exercise and breaking my body down and breaking my old thoughts down to make way for the new, because I'm planting these new thoughts, these new affirmations, and they're not affirmations, they're declarations, right? They're declarations. They're affirmations made from a position of authority. They are declarations. I'm declaring that I made $20,000 this month, even when I was making $2,000 on paper. Because of all that, very, very quickly did I start to realize that when I opened my eyes and I looked around after the workout's finished, I'm like, oh, this reality is so delayed. This current reality that I'm living is not me, right? This is garbage. This is nothing, right? This is terrible. Let's fix this. Let's get rid of this. Like this is so me from like 10 years ago, right? I'm making $2,000 a month. Like, that is nothing. Your standards have gone up because now it's who you are. And if you're doing this right and diligently, this should this part should start to happen for you in a matter of a couple days, probably less than, right? And remember, people, places, and things, right? I've separated myself from people, places, and things, and I'm substituting that with new habits, so new things, new declarations, right? The content I'm consuming changes. New people. So I'm replacing the people that I used to physically associate with or be around, and replacing that with the people who I want to be like in terms of by consuming their content. So I wrote down a list of 5 people who I want to be like, who I want to have in my, my board of directors for my life. So for example, like the Alex Hormozis of the world and stuff like that. And I would just consume their content. It's just like talking to them on the phone. Listening to these podcasts is like being in the back room or being in the back office with them and listening in on conversations with them, right? If you don't need to physically be around these people, we have all these ways to access these people. So now it feels like I'm one of them. And now you feel like an outlier, right? And also when you go out into the world, you'll start to try and, like, if you're responsible and you're really following through with it and honoring your potential, you will want to only speak to people, who who reaffirm the way you feel. The fact that you are always progressing, you're always getting better, right? So I started hanging around my mentors, right? I started asking if there's any way I can help them and things like that, but not so much peers, people who are going to help me get to a higher level. Just by being around them, you will feel like an outlier, right? How can you ever feel okay making $2,000 a month when everybody you're around makes $20,000 plus, right? So that's what happened. And immediately I started thinking about business ideas, but like on a completely different scale. And that's when I built my first AI business. Boom. 8 weeks later, $10,000 a month and growing, right? And that business crashed, but then I finally formalized Deep Mind Programming Co. First month, $10,000, a little more. Second month, like $25,000. Third month, $30,000, and it's growing, right? And so if I could summarize all of this, it would be quantum change is a real thing, and it happens on the identity level. Separate yourself from all the things you think you know to be true, all the current parts of your reality, the people, places, and things, okay? Second, you need to evoke a real powerful emotional and chemical response in your body. Do it through exercise. When you're doing the exercise, make your declarations. And you'll find that it becomes a lot easier to make these declarations when you have the emotional response to support it, right? When you have the serotonin, when you have these powerful chemicals, for men, the testosterone, when you have these things flooding in your body, that I can do anything feeling, it'll be a lot easier to make these declarations, and then you will follow suit. Trust me, it's just a subconscious thing. And third, stay consistent with it. Stay consistent with it, right? Whatever you do, guys, do not fall off your exercise routine, right? And the title of this video is How I Hypnotize Myself for Success, but really, as you can see, it's a lot simpler than one might have thought before clicking this video. It's very simple. However, it's the system in which one goes about it. Like, you have to understand, you have to be privy to the fact that change happens on the identity level. This is why most people can't sustain the change they make, because they're still in the same environment. They're still around the same people. They're still doing the same things. That brings them back, right? It pulls you down to the level of your identity, right? So change has to happen on the identity level, almost to the point where, like, when you make this change, you kind of feel confused, or you kind of feel empty or lost. And that's a good thing, because now life and the universe has the opportunity to pour into your cup and to fill in your canvas with a very beautiful sequence of events, right? And then you declare what you want to see by support that with a powerful emotion. The fastest way to evoke that powerful conqueror's emotion is through exercise. And it can be 5 minutes of exercise a day. It can be 2 minutes of exercise a day. Just do 2 push-ups and do 2 squats. And I promise you, and make the declarations while you're doing them. Pick your declarations. There are no right ones. Whatever you want to see in your life, right? And the more you do that, the more you will also want to figure out other routine habits, or other habits that you can implement in your routine, like journaling, which is what I do a lot to channel, right, that state of consciousness. I journal as though I am already the best version of myself, because I am. And you'll find other things to do, meditation, stuff like that. But really, that is how you fast track your success. But if you do all those, if you do the routine stuff, it'll work for like 30 days. Then you'll fall back to your old self because you haven't made the change on the identity level. So do not skip that part. Okay. And here I am a year later. And me in another timeline is watching this saying, hey, you really did it. Yeah, and that's why I put these out, right? It's to my old self, but also because I know that there are other people going through the same thing and who might doubt that this level of change is possible, right? So it is. And I want you to buy into the reality that is possible. Buy into the reality where you are making as much money as you want a month, whatever number that is, or a year. Buy into that reality, because you can pick and choose your reality, and how we bring it into life is by acting in accordance with that reality in every moment, through your thoughts, through your speech, and through your actions, right? And to quantum leap, you must make the change on the identity level. Okay? Thoughts, questions in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up. That is my only ask, so that we can boost these videos in the algorithm, because I think a lot of people in the world could benefit from this message. See you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.